Catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.
Okay, so two stories that are really important this week that I cannot turn an eye from. First is writers and creatives and actors in Hollywood, the almighty Hollywood, saying that they will go on strike and they're going to, shout and protest because it feels like their job is on, it's on the line. Yes. Netflix recently posted, I think this week, a job role opening for someone who's going to manage, an AI product. And they're saying, what? You want to replace us with AI? Well, that's another talk for another day. And I really thought that we're going to be talking about those people who are going to be shouting. First of all, will be like, oh, the people who don't use any kind of tech whatsoever, or those who don't have any idea, they're like in the Stone Age, and then AI will just come and replace them. And they'll be like, oh, I lost my job to AI. I lost my life to AI. But no. Another very shocking one is Universe, a no-code mobile website builder, announcing that it's launching an AI-powered website designer in beta. And the designer, that's the AI designer called GUS, Generative Universe site, can help anyone build and launch a custom website from their iOS device. Guys, literally, iOS device. I know we've had a couple of tools, no code, and I know all of that rave, right? But then, to give us better perspectives, I've brought Chima. Chima, how do I introduce Chima now? So, I used to work with Chima. I still work with him, but not, not like that. And Chima is a designer, and Chima is he's also like a tech guy, right? And Chima, what's up? How you doing today?
Tech guy.
Yeah, Chima,
what an introduction.
Okay. So a proper introduction would be Chima actually runs an animation company first. He co-founded an animation company. He's a designer.
No worries. It's fair.
I don't know if you've taken your. I
also used to struggle with introducing myself, right? And the fault is solely mine.
Okay. Let's hear it now.
I'm kind of a creative all-rounder, right?
Ooh,
so
okay.
I dabble in a lot of things, so I'm well versed in a lot of things, right? So when you look about your product design, UI design, graphics, illustration, animation. Even these days, I'm even doing web development, right? So I understand the struggle, right? So these days, I just describe myself, as a multidisciplinary creative, right? I help bring products and ideas to life through visuals and storytelling. That's just it.
Exactly.
Right?
So you see how much I struggled, to like say, oh, how do I exactly, describe this and not leave some things out. So it's okay, it's fine. So Chima, before now, have you I know you have come across tools that like help designers and creatives in their creative process, but have you come across any tool before now that would, like, anyone who is not even a creative per se can do what a creative can do with tools like that?
Well, not really. I mean, over time that's the beauty of technology, right? Over time there's been an improvement on different tools to essentially make building stuff, making stuff easier, all right? Back in the early 2000s, we had our WordPress, right? For you to just drag and drop. Maybe there's probably like templates for you to use. I think we then had over the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, there was Wix as well. Those are website builders essentially, that you come and you see a template, you just drag and drop and you just maybe set up something, right? And now over the last year or two, there's been like the explosion in AI, right? So it's the beauty of technology. We're going to be getting all of this every day, right? So, but for me, I would say that it's nothing unexpected, right? So it just depends on everybody to be looking forward to these new tools and know how they're going to adapt to it. So yeah, nothing surprising really.
Okay, so I know that there are a couple of people on the continent who break their head and their backs trying to learn how to build websites. And some people say, oh, if you're just using tools to build, you're not really building the website. You have to know the very, and you break their head and their backs and whatnot. Should these people be scared?
Well, first of all, there are people that I like to call gatekeepers, right? People that believe that because they suffered to do something, every other person that wants to learn that thing or be a part of that thing has to go through the same pain
LOL.
that they went through. Right, and that's not really a good thing, right? Because technology is supposed to make life easier by the day, right? So when new tools come around and made something that usually takes you 10 hours to do, and then maybe it simplifies it to 30 minutes or an hour, it should be very well embraced, right? I know you will feel you as an OG will feel pain because this is not how these new kids are going to have it easy. You tend to you guys are not doing the real thing, you're not suffering. I think it's the same thing that artists went through earlier. I think they're actually still doing that, right? When people say, oh, if you're painting, if you're creating digital art, you're not really, really, really an artist. You have to have a brush, have your paper, your canvas open and paint, traditionally. So I just think that that's just gatekeeping, right? And you should be happy that people are able to enjoy what you do, or are being able to take a part of what you are now in an easier format, right? I think when we were working together, we had this interview with some guy who was talking about animations and stuff, right? And we used to talk about how everybody these days are now a fan of maybe the Marvel movies and the DC movies, and we who had the old who started with the comic books, and we're like, oh, people don't understand, people are just watching it on TV and it seems fun, you don't know what's up. But I think that should not be the case. It should be people you should be happy that people are now getting to appreciate and see this thing that you used to love back then. It is now in a format that people love now, or more people are able to participate in now, even if it's now in movies or real life. It doesn't have to. If your medium was formerly comic books and now maybe it's been translated to big screen TV and TV shows, and more people are getting to see why you love that thing, it should be a good thing, not necessarily saying, oh, you people don't know where we are coming from, that kind of thing.
Okay. And then how would you talk to or advise those who are practicing now, the designers, the website builders and website designers and product managers, all of these? How would you share these thoughts with them? Because if these things keep coming up, you'll get to the point where someone feels like, whoa. We'll get to the point where someone actually sit down. Will we actually get to that point where someone sit down and say, oh, I don't need a designer, I don't need a website, I don't need you guys because, I have tools that can help me to just fix it up?
Oh, okay. So I would like to come out and say I don't think that AI is going to take the jobs of creative people. All right. I firmly believe that. All right. So far or currently, I think for you to create any of these tools we're even talking about in the first place, you need to first of all even have to be a creative, right? You have to be creative with your words because you're giving prompts to the AI to be able to design something. So you cannot just come out and say, oh, give me a website for a shop, right? It will give you that, and it's going to be really basic, right? And it will not be different from what those tools that are currently available now that just gives you templates would do, right? So I would say for my designers, for my developers out there, I would say to expect change and to embrace the change, right? Today in Photoshop, right? Okay, let me say a couple of years ago in Photoshop, 10 years ago in Photoshop, if you had an image and you wanted to maybe crop out the background, right? You probably spend a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes tracing the lines of what you want to cut out of the image of from. Yeah. Today in Photoshop, you literally either use there are different tools right now that you could use on your toolbar. In fact, there's even the AI one right now, the newest version where you just remove this or introduce this. literally in seconds, right? The thing that would have taken us minutes or sometimes hours to now fine tune and make sure that it's really well defined will now take you seconds to do. Now, so imagine now you were dealing with one client, you could only manage one client a day, right? Because you have to spend like an hour, 2 hours doing a task for them. Now with the updates on Photoshop, for example, you are able to quickly make those changes in 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So what that means essentially is that you can now have 5, 10 clients. So you can now make times 5, times 10 of what you're making. That is how I choose to look at it, right? AI is here to make your life as a creative easier, right? There will always be people that know how to use tools, like DIY tools, like do-it-yourself tools. There will always be people like that, right? But like it or not, there would always be an unending number of people that need creative services. It is not even you as the creative that will now use your AI tool to generate things that would have taken you a longer time to develop, right? You are the person that knows the keywords or the right prompts to give the AI to bring out the best version of what that AI can give you. Take your ChatGPT, for example, right? Everybody's talking about ChatGPT and using it and all of that. If you go as a copywriter and you go on to ChatGPT and you're not a copywriter, you go on and say, I need a copy for this. In a few seconds, ChatGPT is going to give you that content and you're fine and good, and you go into your social media or business proposal, whatever, put those texts and you'll be fine. But if a copywriter, an actual copy person, takes a hold of ChatGPT and gives it actual professional prompts using right keywords, talking about, I need this to be SEO compliant, I need you to maybe answer in set the tonality to maybe witty, professional, corporate, all of that stuff. The content that ChatGPT would give that professional content person, when you look at it with what that everyday Joe just put out there and collected, you would definitely see like the difference in the results that they both got, right? And again, for the professional, the results that the AI would give you is not even final, right? Your skill now will now also allow you to now still fine tune whatever results that you get from that AI, whether it's a text, whether it's an image, whether it's a video. Because you still have your skills with you, are also then able to fine tune areas where the AI, because like it or not, AI won't give you exactly what's in the back of your mind, right? You will still have to use your skills to still translate all these things. So for my designers and developers and all creatives out there, I would say get on with the program, right? Find which of these tools is going to take your tasks from 1 hour to 50 seconds. Find those tools, maximize those tools, triple, quadruple your income, right? You get to handle more clients, you get to deliver things faster, and you're just going to be all right. At the end of the day, this is here to make your job easier, right? And you're not going to lose your job because of it. You're just going to evolve into what the present market demands from you. Because I'm sure in a few years we'll probably be seeing something like a UI prompt designer is needed. Maybe something like that, right? Like an AI designer, a front end AI prompt, something like that. The industry is going to evolve with the technology that it has in hand, right? And it's your job as a creative to move on with the trends. Even right now, with our regular graphics that we do, we have to stay with the trends every day. It's not the same style of design we were doing last year that is in vogue now. You have to keep evolving. So I would say keep that in mind. The AI will not take your jobs. Evolve with the tools that are being presented to you every day. They are meant to make your life easier and help you earn a lot more with a lot less stress.
Interesting. Now, Chima, this is directly to you. I know that you watch a lot of Hollywood movies, series inclusive. What exactly would your reaction be? Would you rather go for a person or people scripted series or an AI scripted and managed series?
I would still every day take my content that was written by your everyday human, right? Because AI at the end of the day is working with data. AI has to work with data that it finds or it gets around it. right? I saw reports last week of how AI's mathematics results are now facing a decline. That before they used to answer mathematics with questions about 98% accuracy, but now because of a lot of false results on the internet, right? Mostly because people are providing wrong data, and also because AI has been getting a lot of content wrong. So the internet is now filled with more AI content, not user-generated content, right? So it cannot even get actual human content anymore. So these days, I think the percentage drops to like a 70%, or 60% accuracy, right? So the point I'm trying to make is essentially is that you're going to need your human beings at the end of the day, like it or not, right? People are behind that screen, putting in the prompts. People are going to be living their day-to-day life, solving real problems to provide the data that the AI needs to feed on. Yeah. So for scripts and my movies, I would stick to my human writers any day. I just finished the Secret Invasion from Marvel 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. Yeah. That movie caused a lot of controversy when it premiered. Right, and the reason it caused controversy was because the opening sequence for each episode, usually you hire a video editor or a VFX person or whatever to create like the opening montage of the episodes, right? But what they did this time was they generated that opening montage with AI, right? So,
Wow.
So yeah, and it caused a lot of problems on the internet for like everybody in that sector. So people were like, "Oh, so is this what people want to do? How can a multi-billion-dollar company and be spending using cheap whatever?" It was crazy. So first of all, personally as a creative, I thought that the montage itself was terrible. It was poor. I didn't like it, right? But in terms of storytelling, I completely get why they went in that direction. Because first of all, the show itself was about aliens invading Earth by pretending to be something they are not, pretending to be fake, right? So the idea of that whole show was nothing that you see is real, right? So it kind of made sense for the opening sequence to be done with AI, with fake intelligence, with like artificial intelligence, right? So that kind of like tied into the whole story point. So there was that. But then it's not as if they just went behind and just bought a free template, or maybe put in a few words and that came out. There were still professionals behind the scene that still edited the final outputs of that video. There was a branding agency that said, "Oh, this will be this. Let us use this direction for this opening montage. It will tie in more with the story we're trying to tell." So there are still people behind the scene who have to take responsibility and create essentially interface with that AI, right? And again, like I said, at the end of the day, the video editors will still have to edit the final output, right? So AI would be a part of our life, but I'm actually pretty excited for it. I can't even tell you. You know how many projects I've had to these days get a lot of easy head starts with, right? Things I would have stayed a couple of days mulling over with the tools available like your ChatGPT, your Photoshop, other things. I'm able to get a very good head start, right? And then just start editing from then on. Makes life a lot more easier, right? So, but in terms of script writing and all that stuff, I would say finally that I think that there will always be a need for human elements, right? In terms of what's happening in for example, it's what's happening in Hollywood right now, right? Everybody's on strike, but they're not really on strike because of the AI thing. You know, it's because of salaries. That's why they're on strike. Yeah. So, and that's that's it. Like you said, that's a whole other story. Like the reasons are very interesting. I really am excited to see how that one plays out. But even if the executives of these places wanted to be stubborn, you know, and they could say, "Oh, you know what? We don't need you. We'll just probably create the scripts for our stories through ChatGPT or whatever." But they're not going to. They're going to get shit results. Okay, maybe not shit results. They're going to get results that still need a professional's input, right, to make it better. Because at the end of the day, AI is learning from us. It's learning from humans, right? So it's still going. It still needs us around to be able to create accurate and good enough data. There's a reason why your current robots don't give off that human or that sense of humanity, right? Because there's just that sense of empathy. There's a certain consciousness that you have as human that makes everything more interesting, right? Makes everything more relatable, right? And that's something I don't think maybe right now. I mean, proven wrongly that, but I don't think right now that's something that you can get from AI. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chima, for your thoughts, and I really appreciate them. It's good to hear from someone who is in the space and someone who is feeling, someone who can actually feel the pulse, like right where it's happening. Thank you very much for your thoughts today. I'm speaking to all creatives, just like Chima has, just spoken to us. What comes to my head immediately is Omale's reason, but please, no reason at all. Like, don't worry. You're going to be fine. You're going to be safe. Thank you, Chima, once again for your time.
Happy to have the whole thing.
Beautiful. It's been a wonderful ride here on Tony's Tech Side. Thank you very much for staying on Tony's Tech Side. Yes, we've run through the many stories rocking the continent of Africa. And I want to give a special shout out to two people, Anthony William Catt and Lavina Ramkisson. These guys are doing great things on the continent, curating the stories and the startups and things literally happening on the continent, especially in the African tech space. Yep. As curated by Anthony William Catt and Lavina Ramkisson, these are programs, opportunities, and major discussions around the continent, rocking, this week, actually. We would start with, something that's currently blowing away a cross-section of Nigerians. Well, it's not AI's ability to unravel complex issues, but its simple ability to have a humane and compassionate conversation in a nationally preferred language. Lavina here is talking about pidgin. Yes. Nigerian. Pidgin. Yes. Well, also from Lavina, it's a story that latest data from CoinGecko shows that AI job searches in 2023 peaked at nearly 5 times the number of searches for crypto jobs. And Lavina Ramkisson is the AI mom on the continent. And for programs and opportunities from or curated by Anthony William Catt, we have the Startup Bootcamp AfriTech. That is a startup fast track application which is open now. The mentor application for Startup Bootcamp AfriTech is also open, and Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation application deadline was a few days ago, but you can still check if maybe they opened it again. And Flat 6 Labs hiring an investment associate in Nairobi, Kenya. You want to check that out. Viridian hiring a program administrator in Cape Town, South Africa. You want to check that out. And 2 events. August 1st, Founders AMA Pitching 101 with Raise Africa and Tech Safari. And yes, 30th of August is Africa Chatbot and Conversational AI. That's a generative AI on the continent. First of its kind. It's never happened before. A conference on generative AI as e-day hot. Well, you could go to chatbotafrica.com and, find out how to attend physically, in person, or virtually. And then the last but not the least event is the one happening in November. I think there are 2 actually. One in Tanzania, which is a FinTech Summit, and the other Africa Tech Festival, which is happening in South Africa. I'm Tony. So on Africa Tech Radio's live stream Monday to Friday, I share stories about technology. Yes, how tech is impacting Africa and how Africa is allowing tech to impact it. Yes, that's what I do. And well, I'm not the only one who does. I'm not the only one. You can catch our podcast also across streaming platforms, wherever you're listening to it. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, where else again? Podbean, Spotify, everywhere. On social media at Africa Tech Radio, Facebook and Twitter, and at ATech Radio on Instagram. I have to run away, bro. But then, of course, catch me also across social media. On LinkedIn, yes, that's where I'm most active. Anthony Onyekachi eBay. This is all we're gonna do for Tony's Tech Side today. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.